Hey, it's Soul with another video brought to you by Sean, first of his name, Lord of Riverrun and Paramount of the Trident. Today I'm going to talk about lore and... Damn. Am I that bad? So today I'm going to talk about lore, specifically about Sylvanas. 6 days ago, there was an article from Eurogamer starring Alex Afrasiabi and the people at Eurogamer. They talked a little bit about lore. I have Alex's quote here on screen. Let me read it out for you. I've heard these discussions on the internet about she's going off the rails, but is she? I've been writing Sylvanas personally since 2006, and this is pretty much the Wrathgate and the Blight and the Forsaken in character. Those were all under Sylvanas' orders. What we're seeing now is an escalation of the plans Sylvanas has, clearly, and we're in the middle of that. It's been 6 days, I know. I actually didn't think that this article was going to be a big deal, but there are quite a number of people in the Twitter sphere and the forum sphere talking about this, and so here I am as the resident horde cuck of YouTube and elsewhere. I might as well throw my thought in the hat. There are a couple of important things to note, and this may not sway your opinion on Sylvanas or the plot of Warcraft as it is right now, but it's just worth thinking about. One is that this quote is written. I tried looking around and I couldn't find the audio as to what's going on here. There might have been a miswording, a stutter, some sort of change in tone that makes this statement not quite what it is. But for the sake of argument, let's just say that it is. We could also say that this is a gaffe or a mistake by Alex. Oh, you know, it was just a mouth fart. Like, he meant to say this, and he ended up saying, like, the exact opposite thing, and it's totally been taken out of context. But, once again, let's just go with the idea that this is true, that this is actually what Alex intended, that Sylvanas planned certain things, such as the Wrathgate, well ahead of time. It's not like this thought came out of nowhere either. I have in my possession a book. Ahem, a reading from the Chronicle. Sylvanas' role at the Wrathgate. Like most good lies, Sylvanas Windrunner's account of the rebellion in the Undercity contained some truth. Grand Apothecary Putress truly had attempted to overthrow her, and Varimathras truly was trying to claim the Forsaken in the name of the Burning Legion. But the plague had been created at her direction. Sylvanas was willing to take vengeance against the Lich King at almost any cost, even by making a weapon as deadly as the plague. Whether she was aware that Putress and Varimathras were planning to use the concoction remained a mystery. Rumors persisted that she knew about the attack at the Wrathgate beforehand, and her denials did not assuage the doubts of her detractors. There's no doubt in my mind that Sylvanas is perfectly capable of trickery and deception, or at the very, very, very least, sudden improvisation. Like this. In Antorus the Burning Throne, we see Varimathras for the first time ever since his defeat way back in the battle for the Undercity.
Tell me, when she seized your throne of hides and bones, was your allegiance forced? No, I'd wager you surrendered it willingly, or were convinced you did.
Varimathras said a little, but he said enough to get people thinking about, what are Sylvanas' actual wicked plans, So from this, we can hypothesize a few theories as to how the events of the Wrathgate might have really gone, and how that might tie into what we're experiencing today in the battle for Azeroth. Keep in mind that all of these are just theories, even if I try to back it up or support it with evidence, that these are all just meant for fun and just something to think about. The first theory is the most accepted one. Before the Chronicle came out, before we knew about Varimathras' fate, just from what we knew from the Wrath of the Lich King. That Putress and Varimathras plotted together to overthrow Sylvanas. They used the Wrathgate as the perfect opportunity to destroy everybody, the Horde, the Alliance, the Lich King, because the Lich King is, in fact, the enemy of the Burning Legion as well. But now that we can look back, I can't help but think that that plan between Varimathras and Putress, that was stupid. Why did they bomb Angrathar the Wrathgate at that particular point in time? I mean, the combined might of both the Horde and Alliance are engaged with the Lich King at the moment. Now, Saurfang's son Dranosh is down, but they're still going, and there could have been a long fight of attrition that, who knows, maybe the Horde and Alliance could have overcome the Lich King right then and there, and then Putress would have dropped in that plague. But no, Putress decided to bomb everybody simultaneously. You don't want to initiate your big betrayal when everyone is at relatively full strength. You're going to wait until the factions are weakened and then take advantage of the situation. It's like, goodness, Putress is clearly not an old god. The next theory is that Sylvanas knew that Putress and Varimathras were going to betray her. However, after thinking about it, she decided to do nothing about it. She was just going to let it happen. Remember one thing about Sylvanas, at least back then during the Wrath of the Lich King days, she had a very focal hatred for Arthas the Lich King. After all, Arthas took everything from Sylvanas, except for a couple members of her family, but he pretty much took everything. She absolutely hated him, and from the get-go, at the start of the World of Warcraft, a big part of the Forsaken plot was to create this plague of undeath that was designed mostly to take out the Lich King, but of course it was designed to take out like everybody else too, but you know, details. Keep in mind that Putress is the Grand Apothecary for the Forsaken, and he was detrimental for creating this current iteration of the Blight. So if you're Sylvanas, you might think to yourself, oh man, I can't believe it, these two are betraying me? Oh heck. You know what? I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait until he's done making this Blight. Once he stops becoming useful to me, then I'll find some way to remove him from, from the equation. It just so happens that he and Varimathras were planning this coup, and Sylvanas is like, okay, yeah, cool, let's go ahead and let this happen. Because as far as she's concerned, if Putress uses the Blight and successfully kills the Lich King while killing a lot of other people in the meantime, that's still a win for her. The Lich King is still dead, and everything else is just a little bit of collateral damage. And she can claim deniability. It's not like she's the one that ordered the attack. Or was it? I'm just going to get into one more theory because there are so many different variations of what could have actually had happened or what could have conspired between all these characters. But this gets a little interesting because when we refer back to Varimathras, he clearly has a grudge against Sylvanas. From the earlier quotes, he's asserting that Sylvanas is deceiving everybody, which very well may be true. But where did this come from? Perhaps it goes as far back as the events just before and during the Wrathgate, when Varimathras and Putress are being fooled by Sylvanas. Maybe Sylvanas was kind of in on this whole Legion plot. So maybe Putress and Varimathras felt a little comfortable. However, once the events of the Wrathgate happened, they look at Sylvanas and they're like, hey, Sylvanas, it's time to come out and be part of the Legion. And Sylvanas is like, what are you talking about, bro? I didn't say nothing, and then she just bounces. So it's at that point when Varimathras and Putress are like, oh, screw it, we'll just start a coup with whoever we got, take her out, and they attack her, she escapes, and then the events of the Battle for Undercity take place. So if anything, this spices up the story a little bit. It still makes Sylvanas a total asshole. It's already apparent back during the Northrend campaign that Sylvanas has no regard for life, and she could care less whether or not there are tons of casualties as long as the Lich King is dead. I truly believe that it wasn't Sylvanas' intent that during the events of the Wrathgate that she told Putress, hey, when you see all those three factions, the Horde and Alliance and the Lich King, see all them all together, I want you to bomb the crap out of them. I don't believe that at all. I'm thinking that if nothing else, Sylvanas told Putress, hey, if you see the Lich King, take the shot. Don't hesitate. Don't blink. And I think Putress had definitely abided by that, because even as a Legion agent, the Legion and the Lich King, they are very hated enemies as well. So these events play out with the best of intentions. Of course, the two things that were unintended were that there's a lot of dead Horde and Alliance soldiers, as well as the Lich King surviving the attack. I've seen other theories that Sylvanas somehow convinces Putress and Varimathras to just sacrifice themselves for the cause, but that's not really something I buy into. So I know I talked a little bit too long on it, but those are my thoughts on the matter. What do you think? Share your thoughts in a comment below. Do that like and subscribe thing to support the channel so I can keep giving you more of this and all things Warcraft. I'll see you next time. Until then, stay safe, stay happy, and stay breezy.